We are getting through another month, and what a month it has been. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my top goal going into April, and then a recap of all of March's goals and if I was able to complete them. I'm wondering if I need to fix my lighting in here because I just feel so blue. Everything is coming up blue right now. We will just go with this. It looks like the color is correcting itself, so that is fine with me. So what I'm going to be doing is sharing a recap of March goals that I had, and all of these goals except for the top goal was shared over on Patreon. I share a preview, if you will. So even after this video, I'm going to be heading over to Patreon, and you can join me if you would like to hear the rest of my goals for this month to come. And I have quite a list for April, so let's get started. The first goal that I had for, my top goal for March was to embrace a new filming style. And that was to do a week-long worth of videos for all of you. And I was able to do it. And it was much different than what I usually share in the format that I share it in. And I think that I really like it because what I find to be challenging is doing voiceovers with music. I love adding music to just videography, and so just finding that balance, and I know many of you also like just a really nice, beautiful playlist, and so I felt like it was the best of both worlds. Some want to hear just that over explanation of whatever it is that is going on, or just my thoughts behind something. And then I was also able to share the beautiful music and the visuals to go along with it. So I think I'm going to keep embracing this style. And also, I've been just trying to come up with different ideas as far as other ways to share a week's worth of videos with all of you. I'm not saying that that is going to happen every month, but it is something that I really do enjoy doing. It, of course, takes a lot of prep work to be able to do such a thing, but I just know that it's something that I really enjoy, and I'm glad that so many of you let me know how much you enjoyed that series, and especially for those of you that you felt like it really changed the way that you take care of your home. And by that, I'm talking about the housekeeping and the everyday series that I did with those master classes. So I'm thinking the next one will be all about organization. If you have any suggestions, I would love to know them in the comments below. Okay, so after that, this now is going to be the list of that preview that I shared over on Patreon, but it was the rest of the goals that I had for the month of April. So the second thing on that list was to complete my taxes. And this has been something that was ongoing, and now I did. So I was able to complete that this month. I had my appointment. I'm trying to think. I think the appointment was the last week of February, but by the time this video is going out, I'm already getting my check ready to send off to the IRS so we can just be done with that and move on with the rest of the year. But I am just, there's no better feeling than like you were on top of everything and you got everything done. So that was a goal that I had that I am so thankful is now done. And then after that, I had take a trip to Lake Havasu. So my mom had, as I shared in the beginning of the year or at the end of the year, that my mom had gifted my kids with passports for Christmas. And so making sure to complete the applications and then get an appointment so that we can get those completed. That was something that was really hard for us to do here in Las Vegas because it was just really booked. Now in Lake Havasu, which is where my mom also spends half of her time, she was able to get an appointment right away. And so we did end up traveling to Lake Havasu, and I was actually there during that week that I was doing that whole week long of videos. So it just felt so good to have everything done and going out on the days that it needed to go out on, and then to also be taking care of business there. So we had a really fun trip. I also celebrated my mom's birthday there with her. It was a really fun trip actually, because I hitched a ride with my brother and my sister-in-law and one of my daughters, and then my husband met me there with the rest of the kids. But I got to spend some much needed time with my mom, and I got to do that with my brother as well. So it turned out really, really well, better than expected. And then, of course, the next one was to complete the passport appointment. So everything is in the mail. Everything is, well, I should say it should be there. They're completing everything now. So now it's a waiting game to get everything back, as well as the birth certificates. That's something that we had to send off as well. So it makes me a little nervous, but that is in the works. So next thing you know, we're just going to be traveling with the kids. No, that probably won't happen until near the end of the year, and hopefully if it doesn't work out for this year, then we will be able to next year. But the next thing I had was to begin creating my first book through KDP, which is the publishing through Amazon. And I have done little things here and there, and what I've really been focusing on is what I want that book to include. It's going to be the day book is going to be the first one that I am going to publish through there. So just figuring out all the different things that I would like to include. One of those things is the shopping list, which I wanted to talk to all of you about because it is something that I've recently created. It's something that is also available to anyone right now. If you go to my Patreon channel, I included it with the cleaning cards. So you should see it in the cleaning card section if you scroll down, and that should just say housekeeping as the picture with all of the flowers around it, and then that shopping list is included in there. But also for all of my patrons, I also put it in a recent post that I did of the monthly for the day book for this past week. It's included in there along with the month at a glance in there. So I just think that this is something that is very useful because the shopping list includes the different categories: protein, produce, dairy, and pantry, and then sundries at the bottom for all of the extra things, maybe toilet paper, shampoo and conditioner, anything like that, or just things that don't fit into these categories here. You can put it down there. I know that when I'm going shopping, I usually have a list of things that I might purchase at Target, Walmart, something like that, that I wouldn't want to purchase at the market. And that's why I think that section is really important, because it's almost like a list of itself when I go to a store like that. So hopefully you will find that helpful if you are looking for a beautiful shopping list. Okay, moving on from there. The last thing on my list was to host friends and family 4 times. So that was a challenge I found because my husband got sick, and it just made it to where we couldn't have the normal gathering that we were going to have, and then I kind of lost time as far as when I could host, but it all turned out just fine. The next week I was able to host. I had my cousin over. I had my family over for the St. Patrick's Day. We just postponed it for a week later, and I'm glad that we did it. And that everybody was very accommodating with the schedule, so everything worked out. And now I have some other goals going into the new month, but was I able to do that 4 times? No, but then I also saw my dad. It all worked out well, because in a way, I feel that even hosting, or let's say being hospitable, right? It's not just confined to your own home. I think that can be just making yourself available to others. So I was able to meet up with my dad, and then we also spent time that day going and visiting one of our friends in the hospital. So that I felt it was just so good. So nice to be able to go and do that. So was it a failure? No, it wasn't. And I don't even look at it that way, because, just with, like I said, making yourself available to others is important in many ways, and especially visiting the sick. That's something that is important too. So all in all, I would say I was able to really accomplish so much of that list. Would I have liked to do more on as far as the publishing goes, and just working on the book? Yes. But I also know that's not something that is just going to be like dedicated for 1 month. It's something that I'm spreading out over a period of time. And right now, I have some things that I'm really going to be focusing on, so that will take the back burner right now. And, I'm just doing what I can do in the midst of everything else going on, which, by the way, I do want to address, like my last video that I created and that I shared with all of you. It was a very emotional video for me to make. I almost didn't even know if I was going to be putting it out, but I knew that for some people it would be very important to share just the emotions that we go through with things, and yes, how everything is not perfect. And I never want to come on here and act as if everything is perfect, but as I shared with all of you, it can be difficult to be authentic while also keeping your privacy. So what I'm happy about is that there were some of you that really gained from being able to see me even in that state, right? Not that we want to see anybody like that, but just to know that we're all going through some really difficult things. And, even in the midst of all of that, for myself especially, and I said, I was going to be having a difficult day and just praying about it. And then I couldn't even expect what was going to be coming down the pike that day. And I feel like it really set me up to be able to deal with what else came my way. And I would say even worse, even on a greater scale than what I experienced in that moment that I felt so hurt, right? It really did prepare me in a way that I could have never expected. I needed that preparation for, and to be able to surround myself and have the right people around me at the right time. So I'm not even upset about the way that all of this happened, because it's when you look back on things, for those of you that love God, you can see how God works in your life and how important it is for different things to happen at different times, even those unpleasant things. And that's where I am right now, because I can't even be upset about it. It's like God prepared me for something greater. And that's just the way that I guess I'm coming to terms with it, because of what did happen later. So it's just, we have an amazing God. That's what I will say about it. And I also want all of you to know that the comments that all of you left that I haven't even responded to, and I'll probably just heart all of them because that's what they made me feel like, was just very loved and accepted, and it was just the encouragement that I needed. It was like the arms, a big hug. That's what it felt like to me. And all through the weekend, I was reading all of your comments. Every time they were coming in, I was just reading them and just filling my mind and filling my heart with all of the wonderful verses some of you shared, just the encouraging words, the uplifting words. I needed every single one of them. Even those little hearts, even the emoji hearts. All of them were needed, and I just want to really thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it was so needed in that time. So thank you so very much for that, and just know I appreciate the time that you took to send them to me, and even those of you who emailed me or sent me something special, thank you so much for that, or became a patron. I mean, some of you became patrons to just brighten my day, and that made a big difference as well. So all of it, every single piece was important to me. So thank you so much. Okay, now let's talk about a special vision board. Today's vision board comes from Kaylee. She writes, I'm late sharing my vision board as I am a mother of 2 babies. I wanted to share it with you because you are a true inspiration to me. My board is inspired by travel goals, a Bible to represent my relationship with God, reading through the Bible, continuing in my feminine journey, and a short daily cleaning goal checklist. You have made me embrace my feminine style and not to think less of myself because I may not be like others. Thank you for all that you bring to my life. Kaylee, this is such a beautiful vision board. I really love so many different aspects about it. And I just want to thank you for taking time to share this with all of us. And I believe that everybody else will be just as inspired from this as I am. Let me share with you my top goal for April. And it's a time-sensitive thing, so it's to fertilize my flower beds. This is very important for me to do, especially with all of the beautiful roses that I just want to do so well this year. I can't believe how big my rose bushes are getting, and I didn't even cut them back. I thought that I would cut them back, but I did not cut them back. And I have had so much new growth on them, but I just really want the roses to do so well this year. So we have some natural fertilizer, which is, what our chickens make for us. So we will be using that, and we're collecting all of that to use. And it just makes really great fertilizer for the flowers. So I've already had some beautiful roses so far, and my Banks rose is actually starting to bloom, which is a beautiful butter yellow. And we just have some work to do as far as getting out some dead things I have a climbing rose bush. I also have just a little rose bush to take out of there, and I'm looking forward to replacing them, just seeing what kind of colors are going to be available at the nursery this spring. But that will be it for my top goal for this month. I would love to know what your goal is for this month. I have a list. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more goals that I'm going to be sharing with my patrons. They get a little preview, so if you are interested in hearing about those first, please head over there. But definitely let me know what your top goal is for this month. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye, everyone.